Hey guys, Attorney Walter Hnot. Now we're going to get right into the video, but I want to just say, please, if you get a chance, like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. I'll put in the chat section as to where you can leave it. If any of this content is really useful, consider a 5-star review. Let's get right to it. First off, before we get into the details, I wanted to do a video specifically on how the SSA was going to be helping, essentially, and this is straight from their blog, voters with disabilities participate in our democratic process. And essentially, October 6, 2022, fresh off the press, Thomas Hicks, Chairman, U.S. Election Assistance Commission. I was going to go ahead and click on it to give you the information as to specifically how they were going to go ahead and help you guys vote in the upcoming elections, but they need to fix their link. So SSA, you have a sin and you got to fix it. Now let's get right to the point of this video. These are the things that I find particularly difficult when it comes to working with the Social Security Administration. Howdy guys, howdy everybody. Now, with that said, I think it's just so incredibly important to understand the bad and the good of the SSA. First off, I want to start off with the good. The Social Security Administration handles programs that literally millions upon millions, 70+ million people rely on to be able to survive, eat, have shelter, utilities, a sports card. Just kidding. All right. Now, what you need to know is this. Without them, those people would not be able to effectively get through their day, get through their retirement, be disabled, and have money to be able to survive. Well, important stuff, but very important as well. We have to also look at the other side of things, which are, as somebody who works directly with them on a day-to-day basis, and I must have spoken with, I don't know, 8 or 9 reps today, although the one I was trying to get a hold of, 3 months now, missing in action. But anyways, let's go through some of the things that are the worst parts of interacting with the Social Security Administration for me. All right, here we go. Number one is this. When I, as an attorney, represent somebody before the Social Security Administration, the adjudicator gets to make the decision. But I, Attorney Walter Hnot, do not. So I have no ultimate decision power as to what they're going to do with your claim. I am like the neck of your claim. They are the head. I can guide the head by turning the neck, but ultimately they are the head that decides if someone is disabled or not. Now, this is super frustrating for me as an attorney, because if I was in contract law, I could, write into the contract all the little things that I want, all the little things that I think are important, etc. If I was in insurance, a lot of the settlement negotiations, mediations, the arbitrations, the pre-litigations, a lot of that stuff would be more within my control. But at the end of the day, this, bottom line, the hearings, the trials, all of that stuff is not directly within my capacity control, which frustrates the hell out of me, because ultimately I am stuck with their product as opposed to something I can create or I can do or I can fix. That's and it's a control thing, but it's also we don't always end up where we're supposed to, and that's when it's the most frustrating. Like, you'll have somebody where you're like, this is a surefire, absolute, no doubt about it, finding of disability. And I've learned there's no such thing as a sure thing in law. The more somebody tells me, this is a sure thing, no matter what, hey, no matter what, it's going to work out. I know I'm going to get screwed over, the worst bleeping I've ever had on that kind of claim. And I have, and that's how I know that. Now, with that said, number two, the reality is that the disability guidelines, like what they use to decide if somebody is disabled, if someone is impaired or relatively, these actual listings, the laws that govern a lot of these impairments, they're relatively vague. They're they have direction, they have shape to them and stuff like that, but inside that box, they're relatively vague. So as a result of that, the judges can continue to become more aggressive with denials and still be within the code as it stands today and will stand untouched 10 years from now. So what I'm seeing is a lot of the new administrative law judges, they're coming in as part of this adjudication process. They're being trained in a very different way. It's less about, do they believe the claimant? It's less about, it's more about medical evidence. What does the medical evidence show? Well, a lot of homeless, low income individuals, they don't have tons of medical evidence. There's, you can't just go ahead and, do this or do that. They don't have insurance. They have any bubble. They don't have any background with any of that stuff. So it's getting tougher and tougher for those individuals with the modern day training of the younger administrative law judges to get claimants through. Now, and remember, we just got a bunch of new, brand spanking new minted administrative law judges out of the 4,000 jobs that were posted, 1,000 applicant pool to go ahead and try out for the administrative law judge situation. Just so you know, so you're aware, they're adding lots and lots of new SSA people. That's because 1 in 8 Social Security Administration representative quits. That's it. 1 in 8, they quit. So what you're seeing is those who are there who really know what to do, 1 in 8 of them every year quits. They go away from it. Not enough pay, not enough benefits, too much to learn, way too high capacity of claimants to work on. They're not happy. They're not happy. So, all right, next thing. The wait times are horrible at this point. They are epically bad. People are constantly calling, like, when are they going to decide my claim? When are they going to decide my claim? I much preferred it pre-COVID. You had 4 to 6 months for an initial filing. You had 4 to 6 months for a recon. You had about 9 to 12 months for an ALJ hearing. You had about 12 to 15 months for an AAJ, an appeals council review. And then, of course, district, circuit, supreme, that's all over the place. But the point is, we knew what they were. We had clockwork abilities to figure out how long something would take. Now, who knows? Who knows? You get one DDS rep, they're working it, they're staying on top of it, they're on time, their manager comes over, flops down 50 files and says, guess what? You're lucky. Because you're experienced and you've been here a long time, you get to now do this. And now everything takes way longer. So none of the original statistics that we had for the timeline are really working out anymore. All right. You got to understand something that's been irking me a lot over the past 4 to 5 months. With all new staff members coming in, weird things that don't make any sense, even if you were to make the mistake, like even if you just didn't know what the law was or the rule or the procedure, weird things are happening at the SSA that are not within code. And then some of them are within code, and some of them there's not even code to look at for what the weird thing was that they've done. So at this point, we're getting a lot of weird, they don't know the procedure, and that makes it a real pain in the butt. And even we have some adjudicators where they'll know the procedure, but they're so fed up, they're so tired. Oh, wow, somebody, Euphoric Concepts, thank you so much. For the $10 donation. I really appreciate it because I'm more broke than I usually am. Guys, I just came back from restoring a farm that just got rented. We're going to do a big video about that. And then I came back here, and literally 2 days later, the hurricane hit and flooded more than half of my property. My garage has a fish in it still. It's like hard to get to, and I'm worried there's a spider behind the thing that I don't, you know what I mean? And remember, in Florida, there's real spiders. Not like, oh, that's a big spider up north. No, you guys are chicken shits if you think that's a real spider. In Florida, we have real spiders. They can speak different languages. They have fur on their back, their legs, their sacks. They're real spiders. All right, let's keep rolling. Now, with that said, I just want to point out that, and again, thank you for Concepts for the $10 donation. All right, so with that said, I just want to go into this a little bit. We're seeing some really weird procedural stuff. Like a claim is supposed to go like this way, and then somehow it ends up like 3 miles that way, or in the wrong office, or in the wrong agency. It's just some weird stuff, So it's annoying because it takes a lot of time. And then the claimant's sitting there homeless being like, I'm living with nothing. What's going on? And then I tell them, and they're like, well, what can you do about it? I'm like, they put it there themselves. I got to send them a thing. They got to correct it. It's going to take them 3 months to figure out how it got there to begin with. So anyway, that's another thing that bugs me about it. The next thing, the benefits are becoming less of a benefit to live on and more of a supplement where a side gig is needed to be able to survive. Keep in mind, I was just at the homeless office on Wednesday that I always go to, and I was talking with the administrators, and they're talking about why it's so difficult to get housing because, a single, a studio apartment in Florida is like $800 a month, bare minimum, right? So that's $800. They can't find the government funds and programs to pay for these things. So, it's like one of those things where the money isn't there and the cost of living is extreme. And I know that we have some people on this channel that really, really, really genuinely love President Biden. And I think that you've done an amazing job holding on. At some point you're going to lose grip of that roller coaster, but when you do, I'll try and catch you as you fall. I'll try and grab you and hold your head so that it doesn't hit the ground. just smack into the ground, and then I'll have to pick you up and go, I'm sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry. I'll try. I'll do my best, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm chubby right now, and it's hard for me to run. All right, next thing. So the thing with this whole benefit problem is this. More and more people are not like super excited, like, oh, this spirit fingers. I've been blessed by retirement. I got my disability benefit. I had a guy, and you know, this sticks. This is going to be one of those things like when I'm old and tired and worn out, and like, you know, after the law firm, and you know, I was a sea, you know, one of those types. I was a sea captain on the Spirit, you know, one of those. When I'm old like that, sitting at a bar, even if we even have bars at that point, I'm going to remember this thing. So I get this guy who, you know, he's a homeless guy. He walks over to me, and I know that I've won his benefits. I know that he just got his first back pay check. And he goes to me, man, thanks for the solid. I was like, yeah, man, no problem. Absolutely. No problem. He's like, yeah, wasn't much, but thanks for the solid, you know, thanks for the bennies. And I was like, all right, that's where we're at now. We are officially not, oh, my life is going to change. I used to tell people that the next time I would see them, they're going to be in different clothing. Their face is going to look different. Their smile is going to look different. They're just going to, the whole aura around them is going to be incredible. And now I tell people, I'm like, when you get your benefits, you know what I mean? If you want to call me, you can. If you want to check in, that's fine, you know? But that's the problem. So the, oh my God, this is amazing feeling when receiving your benefits is less like a life-changing experience and more like a birthday that some of your friends just couldn't make it to. You know, and at least one of those friends could make it, but they decided not to because they're dating that new person who just is a total piece of crap, and you couldn't pull them away from that person, and they're ruining their life, and now all of a sudden they're having, you know, kids with that person, and you're like, what are you doing with your life? It's like that. That's what it's like now. It's evolving. It's still changing. You know, it is what it is. All right, so the next thing that I want to go through, and then we'll do some questions. I know I'm going to do a short thing. I know I'm late. Everybody said that in the comments. If you noticed, I didn't look at the comments when I first started the video because I'm depressed and tired. I worked all day up to this point doing phone calls and hearing stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then I get on here and everybody's like, Jesus, you're late, man. What's your problem? And I'm like, let me go drink some, here, this will make it better. This will actually not make it better. This isn't what I ordered from Amazon. My special drink, they sent me the wrong one, but they gave me 50% off. So I said, hey, all right. Next thing that's very important. Please see what others have and the work hard achieve theory. All right, so here's this idea. Stick with me on this. People nowadays know, like back in the day, your work equaled certain product. You'd work hard and it would usually equal certain product. Nowadays, you take person A and person B, you have them do the same amount of work, and they will end up in very different places based upon what advantages come to them, right? There's all these programs that boost somebody or change somebody or help somebody or whatever. They'll end up in two totally different spots, right? So what's hard is that a lot of people who did the same amount of work, like if I were in PI, I'd be a multi-millionaire by now, living the dream. Instead, I'm in disability and not a multi, or even close millionaire. So, or even a millionaire in that regard, other than my house, which went up as a result of this wonderful COVID situation that turned out to be a weird housing situation. But the point is, people see this. And this guy up here is happy. And this guy down here, he's not so happy. So what's happening is people see these two situations. And when they approach their retirement, their final benefits, that check that they're going to get to take them through their retirement, you know, the person up here is set up. They got enough to go through life. The person down here, there's no pension. There's no 401k. There's no, you know, the monthly check is barely covering anything. So the problem we're seeing is that people have extreme jealousy in America and they're angry with each other. They're not happy at all. All right, next thing. All right, so, and here's, all right, I'll do this. I'll throw the other ones out. This is the final one. The last thing I want to say, and then we're going to take phone calls. And then from there, we'll go ahead and transition to doing a separate video on specifically what's going on in America when it comes to essentially the new crazy war stuff that's happening, which is so bad, which is so crazy. All right, guys. The thing that scares me and makes me the most upset with working for the SSA is that none of us are really in control of one bad Congress away from screwing it up. Think about how many people rely on disability benefits, retirement benefits, survivors benefits, auxiliary benefits, disabled child benefits, even the divorced widow benefits. How we came up with that program, God bless America. But the thing is this. How many of you think about at night the Congress men and women, the senators and the House reps, who have no friggin' clue how this stuff actually works? Most of them don't. You know why? Because people don't think about the disabled. They don't. It's like this weird class of individuals that people just kind of push out of their mind. Next up the ladder, retired. People don't think about the retired. When people think about the retired, they're like, oh, like that bus that drove through that, town that all the old people got off on. Right? That's how they don't think about it. It's a different world. It's like a different thing. There are oceans worth of law. Imagine an ocean, and then each little tidal wave was a new law. Or little wave. We don't need tidal waves, especially after the hurricane. So the point is this. There's all of this law. It takes one Congress to not understand the needs or the types of laws that we should be going towards, or just the general theory of what we should be doing. It takes one Congress to screw it up. Or you could look at what we've had. And what we've had are Congress after Congress after Congress not actually fixing the problems that the Social Security Administration has, right? 1980s, they had to magically come up with a bunch of money to refuel the system so that it wouldn't run out of funds. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, it's so scary, right? Well, I don't believe it. It's not like it ran out before. It did run out before. It was about to, rather, in the 80s. They had to get a bunch of money and fill it up. So the point that I'm getting at here is that our congressional leaders, our senators, our House reps, our White House, or even a lot of our judges, they do not know our disability system. They do not know our retirement system. And there's this negativity. Oh, those disabled people. Oh, they're sucking all the money up. Oh, those retired people. They're sucking all the money up, right? That's what they think. That's a lot of people. Oh, God. What's ironic is that those people who are like, oh, those retired people, they're sucking all the money up. Those are the same people that are like, student loans, you got to pay back every cent of that, because the economy, What's funny about how that works, and I still haven't figured out how their brains screwed it up. I don't know what entered the brain on one side, started to do jumping jacks, strudeled everything, and ended up over there. I'm talking about Egyptian level, we're about to prepare this body for a long nap. The point is, and I'm sorry my jokes are off tonight. I'm a little off as usual. The point is, when it comes to essentially, this situation, we need a great economy so that people are earning money and paying taxes to the federal government so that we have benefits because there's money in the trust funds. And as a result of that, these people who are not supposed to work or can't work, spirit fingers, can have all of the money that they need to survive. It's the whole point of the richest country on earth, is to have a future for those who cannot work. All right, I want to tell you something else, and then we're going to take phone calls. I promise. Things that you need to know. There was this lady, I forgot her name, but somebody asked her, what was the first sign? And I saw this, and I thought it was brilliant. What was the first sign that a society had become like an ethical, moral, understanding, take care of others type of society? And she said, well, there was a bone in their leg that if broken and mended, that was the first sign. Because in the animal world, the animal kingdom, right, if there was essentially an animal that had an injured leg, that leg would take too long to, heal. And as a result, that animal would get eaten because they couldn't get away or they couldn't eat. They get weak and get eaten, right? However, in human society, broken leg, at some point we learned how to mend it, and then the person can continue with their life. And then the government then has a good argument as to why, of course, people are living too long. You didn't expect that. I know you did. I didn't either. So the point here is this. We are a great society, but the idea of forcing everybody to work so that they're miserable is just going to create less innovation, more angry people, and more people who don't want to go get an education to actually achieve higher things. If you said to me, hey, Walt, hey, man, how's it going? It's going okay. Hey, Walt, would you go back to college and get your, master's and get your doctorate, your Juris Doctorate? I would say, hell no. You know what I'd do? I would take the money that I had and I would invest it into rental properties, and I'd be a lot richer than I am today. I wouldn't have the $500,000 in student loans that it took me to get to my education path. And I sit back and I think, man, my teachers, my professors, they didn't get paid that much. And you know why? Because the provosts and the presidents and the owners of the schools, they make the big money off of me. And that's a problem. All right. Now, with that said, we're going to take some phone calls. I am fully aware that I've missed essentially a bunch of phone calls from people calling in. We're going to now call them back. Remember to use a fake name when you call in. That's part of the gig. Let's go ahead and take this first one. I'm going to go ahead and hold on. Let me see if I can call him. Here we go. All right, first caller. We are on speakerphone. We're putting the phone in the thingy. Can you guys hear it okay? Let me know if you can hear it okay. Howdy, howdy. Can you hear me okay? This is Attorney Walter Hnot.
I can hear you great. This is Bob.
Howdy, Bob. How you doing? So let's go ahead and get right to the legal question. What legal question do you have for me tonight? Remember to use a fake name, and we'll go right into it. Go ahead.
Okay. I've been back and forth, and I had a cessation of benefits, and what's happening is they're dragging out, putting me back in pay, and they're telling me it's taken at least 60 days. And from what you said earlier, understand, but they're trying to force me to file a 454 and an 827. And it's like, if you already threw me out of the program, why?
So what was the legal question in there?
Well, why would I file those? Why would I be why would I have to file those? Aren't those things that, a review of your medical basis?
Yeah, well, 454 is like a cessation claim, deal where they're trying to figure out if you're still disabled. So if they were to kick you off your benefits, they're probably just putting you through this to go ahead and see if there's been any changes to your medical evidence. What they look at is this: vocational profile, medical profile, penal profile. Penal is like prison, jail, etc. If those profiles change, right? If you start working and earning over SGA, or for example, there's a zillion people calling. Or for example, if you go ahead and have a surgery and now you're able to go ahead and jump up and down and do all these amazing things, then your profile in that particular category changes, and they're going to try and put you through a CDR. So, so let me ask you this. With the CDR, they just sent you the 454, the 827, the 827 so that they can buy the medical records from wherever you've been. I'm assuming you've been going to doctors. Did you get worse? Did you get better? Are some of your impairments different now? What happened?
Things have changed over the years. I took opioids for over 20 years, and I got a spinal cord implant, and then I got off the opioids. So there was a change from that, and I'm actually in more pain. And I just had a doctor visit. My hip went out, and they had to inject my hip as well. And so, and that's an extension from my accident way back when. The hip thing, it was damaged at that time, and I just lasted this long.
Okay, so and
the cessation of benefits that was based upon going over the SGA. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah, SGA is a substantial gainful activity. Yeah.
And so I was a little shocked that going over once tossed me, and So anyway, I thought, well, if they already threw me off because of the SGA issue and I'm appealing it, I don't know. I just felt like, giving them another way to throw me, make my life miserable was kind of dumb.
You got to understand too, like they're putting a lot of people through CDRs right now. And what happened was when we hit this whole COVID thing, they were not able to do, these consultative examination appointments because the doctors weren't seeing the patients. We didn't have that whole like telephonic blah, blah, blah yet. And remember, you could do telephonic for the mental and some of the physical, but most of the physical, you had to have a doctor actually assessing like what's the degree of rotation, straight leg test, blah, 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 blah. So the bottom line is you had all of these claims that just kept building and building and building and building. And on top of that, those were the people applying to be found disabled. But on top of that, you also had all these CDRs that were supposed to happen during that point. And those CDRs, they just weren't happening because they couldn't make them happen because they couldn't get the doctors to review you guys. But I would say one of the things they're probably going to do if they haven't already is send you to one of their doctors to go ahead and basically see what's your actual limitation, how bad are you, et cetera. So if I asked you, what are your top 5 most severe impairments?
My back pain, my diabetic neuropathy, my hip pain, my I have some heart issues that they're working out right now, and I don't know. I have some damage to my left hand, which I can't type because of it. I just have dexterity issues. They're not huge, but they're there.
Yeah, but like what are the actual impairments though? Like that's like let me rephrase what you said to me. I hurt over here, okay. I hurt here, my hands don't work well, like man, you got to tell me like when you go through this stuff, okay, so the most important question a disability applicant needs to know the answer to, what are your top 5 medical diagnostic impairments? What have you been diagnosed with? Go ahead.
Okay. Degenerative disc disease, lumbar, degenerative disc disease, thoracic, sciatica, diabetic neuropathy. I forget the name of it, but it's like a rheumatism in the hip, and there's a messed up hip joint. My doctor's been saying I'm depressed for the past 25 years. I have GI problems, GERD, IBS. It just, lots of small stuff, but it kind of stacks up on you, and the diabetes is a big thing. And including this, just like, I have to charge myself for the spinal cord implant an hour and a half every day, which is troublesome.
So kind of the bottom line here is this. A lot of that's musculoskeletal. You got a 12.04 for the depression. I don't know if you're on 12.06 for anxiety. I don't know your background, et cetera, but I'm assuming you're going to the doctor. Do you have a psychiatrist? Do you have a psychologist? Do you have somebody doing the orthopedic? Like, who are you seeing right now? What are the specialists?
I go to a pain clinic. I have an endocrinologist. I have a GP that takes care of, just kind of orchestrating everything. The main thing, and I've only had the device a couple of years, is this implant that's supposed to try and deal with the pain. But I was getting so sick from all the medication I was taking. Just not even the last whole year, we tried to wean me off medications just to see where my baseline is again,
Right.
And I'm tired of taking medications and being sick all the time.
Okay, but still, you're disabled. You know what I mean? That's part of the gig. Like when people are like, I'm tired, the alternative is you hand over the disability check and you have to go find a job and work to be able to afford things.
Yeah.
How long have you been disabled?
Well, 29 years. I've actually been in pain every day for 43, but I was deemed disabled 29 years ago.
So what's your current age?
60.
You're in the last CDR you're ever going to get. This is it. I mean, I know this seems like it's a rare moment. Like you're a 60-year-old getting a CDR. That's it. You're in the last, like, they're not going to care after that. So just get through this. Look, to me, it's a waste of time to give a 60-year-old a CDR because the grid out rules, you don't even consider element 5 at that point, the 5-step sequential process, which are the 5 elements of disability, which is can the person do relevant, transferable, skilled work like other jobs from the skills that they learned at their past relevant work, and can they do unskilled work? They cut out the cleaver element. Element 5 is the cleaver. That's the one that kills off most claims. To me, it's a waste of time to put a 60-year-old through a CDR. Just look, go to all your specialists, get recent medical treatment, get them to fill out mini RFCs. Or RFCs are residual functional capacity forms. They're physician statements. Send them in, get through it, and then you'll be fine. You should be okay. But remember, there's certain things that trigger a CDR. If you go back to school and get an education and you graduate, boom, your academia profile has changed. If you're out there working a whole bunch, right, and you're earning over SGA and you're through your trial work period and you're above SGA into the 36-month extended eligibility period, boom, you changed your vocational profile. Just be careful, because when you change that profile, their computers are set up now to auto ding it, and basically, that'll cause a CDR.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll watch your video about filling out the CDR again. I've watched it twice, but I'm a little dense, so I'll have to watch it a third time.
Yeah, no worries. And I mean, look, if you run into issues, you can always call me back next Thursday. We can kind of go through some of the questions you're having a tough time with, and we'll rock through it. We'll get through it. It's not the end of the world. Most of these CDRs are just update situations, but remember what they're looking at is they're looking at what the listings were when you were originally found disabled 1,000 years ago. And the lucky thing for you, the thing that makes it amazing that you were found disabled 20 plus years ago, is that the rules back then were much, much, much more liberal for allowing people to be found disabled. So, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
All right. Well, good. Did you get your chainsaw off of the floor?
Oh, I got one of them off the floor. The Husqvarna. No, it's I forget. No, it's a steel. The steel is still on the floor. Yeah. I'm just waiting for it to dry out. I've been terrified to try and start it, but I'm probably going to try and start it tomorrow and just get it going. But I rarely use a regular chainsaw. The battery powered 40-volt chainsaws that Ryobi makes, I mean, you can use them, abuse them, take them back to go ahead and basically get repaired for $25. I mean, you keep buying them, you throw them against the tree. Who cares if they break? You get them repaired. They're just too good of a deal. And they can cut through a 2-foot tree. 3 foot, you need a bigger one, but a 2-foot tree, that's pretty darn good, Yeah.
And that steel, just change the oil before you start it.
Yeah, that's the plan. Change the oil.
Milky.
Yeah, oil the barb, give it a hug, then start it.
Good luck, Walter.
Thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, so we're going to be taking the next phone call. I know we're a little bit jazzed today because, we got a lot to do. I have to do stuff after this. Let me get right to the next phone call. Here we go. Boop, I'm clicking the thingy. I'm clicking the speaker. We are going. I've got Shadow right at my leg. I'm sure he wants a treat, even though I put 3 out for him. Let's see if we can get this person on the phone. Here we go.
Hey, how are you?
Howdy, Madame Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live. Use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question or run hearing questions with you?
Yes, a specific question.
Perfect.
I wanted to find out about, I'm on SSI disability,
okay,
and it's been about a year, 2 years now.
Okay.
And they called me to do some FEMA work.
Okay.
And I was wondering, would that mess up my SSI, my disability, if I work a couple of months?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, keep in mind, with SSI, there's not a lot of the traditional protections that they give you with SSDI. With SSI, the trial work program isn't there. So one of the big things you have to consider is that if you violate the SGA rule, the $1,350, then they're going to come a knocking to say you're not eligible for disability benefits on that month. Additionally, when you work with FEMA, you're going to be on a bunch of cameras working away with people, pulling trees, spray painting doors, removing debris, all that stuff. And as a result of that, yeah.
From what they said, I will only just be handing out a ticket.
Okay.
For those picking up the debris.
So it's hard to hear you all of a sudden. So they're going to be having you hand out tickets. Is that what you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So
I just monitor what they pick up from the site. That's it.
all right. So it's a little tough to hear you all of a sudden, but what I would say is this, kind of the bottom line is that no matter what you do, if you're working with FEMA, you're going to be going from door to door, climbing over things, having to interact with, unstable ground, et cetera. I mean, were you found disabled for mental or physical impairments?
Well, it's both.
Okay, so I mean, look, were you found disabled for anxiety, depression, panic attacks, PTSD, or a mood disorder?
Anxiety, as well as my diabetes and blood pressure.
Okay, so then the question then will become, if you're able to interact with the public in basically a destruction emergency zone, then that does not give good evidence to show that you are disabled. That gives great evidence to show that you could do a job, in which case they're going to be looking at you and potentially doing a CDR because A, you're working with FEMA, they're going to write down that you are like doing emergency crew response stuff, which is like, that's not going to look good. And then on top of that, if you're interacting with the general public over and over, that's not very good for your claim. What were the physical impairments?
My knee and my back, and I kept having these chest palpitations, severe chest palpitations.
Yeah, I mean, come on, FEMA would be like the worst job you would try to, they're going to have you in, waterlogged, just drained.
Oh, no. She strictly explained to me that I would just strictly put information into a telephone. That's it.
So you're just doing phone calls? Are you staying inside a room or are you like out there?
I'll be sitting in a car.
So people are going to have to come up to you at the car?
No, I will be following them in the car and seeing what they pick up in the truck as far as removing the debris. It's a debris monitor.
Yeah, but the debris monitors sometimes have to get out of the vehicle and assess the area.
Okay, because you didn't say that.
I hope you bring your ladder. No, I'm just kidding.
No, kid, I used to be an adjuster, so...
Sure. Oh, well, then you know it, yeah.
Let me find out if this is going to jeopardize me or what, because I have not, worked since then, and it's been like 2 years now since COVID.
I mean, there are better jobs that you could do that wouldn't be such a potential hazard to you that you could earn under SGA. You still have to watch out for the 65 plus 20 rule, where anything above that, they take away $1 from every $2 you earn. So I would look into your options there. But the FEMA job, you could run into some real problems there.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. You're a damaged goods assessment person. They're going to expect you to walk around there, see what they're putting in the truck, value things. I mean, that's, you're not just going to sit in the car and then have them be like, "Hey, we'll tell you everything." They're going to make you get out, walk around everything, and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, she emphasized that I wouldn't have to do that. So I was just curious, so.
But then who's doing that, right? Like but then who's doing that? Like, they're not going to just have one person sitting in the car the whole time while somebody keeps reporting back to them. I mean, they're going to expect that person to get out and assess things at some point. Like, if something weird pops up, they're going to expect you with the knowledge base to go and assess it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right, I'll be aware. I passed that.
And I would ask her, these are the questions I would ask her. Will there be a specially certified person there that is calling me on the phone while I sit in the car, reporting the information directly back to me? Or is this a situation where the garbage disposal people will be, reporting the information back to me? Because if you're expecting the pick things up, put things down guys to just report back to you, there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have to get out, look at something. But if there's an actual specific and trained person to do an adjustment while you're out there that's just reporting back to you, then yeah, in theory you could be in the car. But and remember, this isn't going to be a little car. If you've got back issues, knee issues, they're going to expect you to climb in and out of a big truck that can get over things.
Okay. Yeah, it's a personal vehicle. You use your personal vehicle. So I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sounded like it would be either fine. You write the ticket, that's it.
Right. Right, so, for sure. Wow.
I was like, they want to get trapped up in it, though. That's the thing. So
right. You don't want to ruin your car. Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the call and the work that you do. Great job.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, ma'am. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, so guys, I just saw from the moderator that studios are going for $1,000 now. I believe it. Honestly, it's insane. What the crazy thing is, like the absolute insane part of this whole thing is that my mortgage for this house, and this house is just literally rooms filled with studio stuff, law firm stuff. Like I have one room that I just use for like sewing stuff and whatever for when I do the live events. I know we think of these as live events, but I actually go out and work with the homeless on like homeless feeding events and stuff, which you guys don't see. But anyways, let's keep rolling. Next caller, let's get him on the phone. I think Santa was in the chat. If I can get him to give me a call, that'll be good too, because I have his paperwork right over here. I didn't get a chance to read it again and research it and figure it out, but I can kind of do that on the spot. Let's see if we can get this person on the phone real quick. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. How can I help you? Are you there? Can you hear me okay?
Is that any better?
So I can barely hear you. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. And would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
Well, I'm trying to hear a specific question. Stop! Can you hear me any better than you did before?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. My question was kind of answered with the guy before this lady that just came on. Mainly, excuse me. I'm almost finished all my paperwork to send to you, and I didn't want to send it to you incomplete, and I wanted to be thorough. So that's why it took me so long, but I am going to email you that probably tonight or tomorrow.
Sure.
My main question right now was, I was on disability from 2006 to about 2015,
okay.
16-ish.
Okay.
And I was able to, heal and get myself back into better health for me to be able to return to work. Okay. And I worked in a hospital and a registered respiratory therapist and a administrator. So I guess I'm kind of a little confused. And will they subject me to the rules of 2006, or do I need to qualify based on today's rules?
Well, so what happened with the 2015 claim? Like, how did that end? Did you give them up? Did they CDR you and you lost them? Did you just do a job? Like, what was the real? What happened there?
Yeah, I hadn't had a fee. Let me put my little dog up. They're just being a nuisance.
Yeah, no worries.
That's exactly what I mean, sweetie, and they want treats and everything else. So I had a CDR, I think 2012, 2013, but when I spoke to the lady, I had already had a surgery that was scheduled. And when I told her that, she was kind of like, she abruptly dropped everything. And she said, don't worry about, anything. Take care of yourself, blah, blah, blah. And that was the last I heard of that. And then, a few years later, I was able to work enough that trial work period and all that crap. But my income, of course, what I did was, I made almost $30 an hour. So it wasn't like flipping burgers. And I don't have anything against flipping burgers, but I think that belongs to high school students. Anyway, I made too much money and they cut me off. So now, since late 2019, I have not worked because of some ailments that I had spoken to you before. Mainly, I now have an autoimmune disorder, and it renders me so disabled in the bed. It's the pain as soon as I wake up and open my eyes. It's just horrible, and that's pain. So, that goes along with
So and the phone's kind of cutting out there. So bottom line is this: you're going to be adjudicated under the new rules and the new standards for your impairments, because at that point that claim ended and you're now starting a new claim for disability. So this new claim for disability will not have really any effect on the old claim. You might get a judge at some point ask, okay, well, when were you found disabled originally, and when did you give up the benefits as a result of being able to work? But other than that, that old claim is really not going to have much effect on the new claim at all.
Okay. I was just wondering, one of the diagnoses is back then I was having a lot of trouble with my asthma, and it was severe. I haven't really had a lot of trouble in the past couple of years. So that's one diagnosis that I wouldn't meet, that's not the main problem now. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, I got you.
So I wasn't clear, if you were subject to rules prior to stop working and stop receiving benefits because of work. So that was my main question. Other things I could talk to you about, at another time.
Perfect. Well, sounds good, madam. I will catch you a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
You as well. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, we're going to take another phone call real quick. We had some people calling in. Let's see what we've got here. One second, here we go. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this person on the phone. Let's see what we got. This will probably be the last phone call we take before we go ahead and transition to doing the next video, which will be the supervisor, the security expert. So let's go ahead and get this. Let's see if we've got him on the phone. Here we go.
Hello.
Howdy, good sir. This is Attorney Walter Hnot. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you?
Is this the hearing? The possible hearing?
So this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We're basically live on YouTube going through some details basically about answering questions for people, so that if they have a disability question or they're not sure of something or they want to run hearing questions, we'll go ahead and do that. But I'm having a tough time hearing you. Say it again.
Possible hearing?
Oh, okay. So run some hearing questions?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now I can barely hear you on the phone. I'm going to put my phone all the way up. All right, perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's run it. Remember to use a fake name. So I'm going to ask you what your name is, make up a fake name, and we'll go through it. Good, sir. Go ahead and state your full fake name for the record.
Jackie Lee.
Perfect. Excellent. Can you tell me, what are your top 5 most severe disabling medical conditions?
Okay, I have chronic cluster headaches.
Okay, so you have headaches. What else is going on?
Possible anxiety. I haven't seen a psychologist, but I was at a consultative exam by Social Security. I'm not sure what he said, though.
Okay, so potential anxiety. All right, any other impairments, any other physical impairments or mental impairments?
Very underweight.
Okay, when you say very underweight, what is your BMI?
I'm sorry, what?
What is your body mass index?
Oh, I'm 83 pounds. I'm about 5 feet 2 inches.
Okay, gotcha. Is this congenital? Were you born, with this, or was this something where, over time it happened? Like, walk me through that.
I believe it's from vomiting from all the headaches.
Okay, gotcha.
I used to be a little over 100.
Okay, gotcha. So these headaches are pretty severe. What kind of medication are you taking for them?
Right now I'm taking anti-CGRP injections, high flow oxygen. Recently tried verapamil and topiramate, and they didn't work.
Okay. So what did you ultimately end up with, and how often do you go to the emergency room as a result of these headaches?
Okay, I went 2020 is when I first started having them. And then after I went to see a neurologist, I've never went since then, but I still see her and I'm still having the headaches.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a while ago. Like, what's the most recent doctor you've seen about the headaches? Like, how long ago was that?
Oh, I've seen her last month. I still see her every 3-4 months.
Okay, excellent. Can you tell me this? Are the doctors starting to figure out where the headaches are coming from or what's causing them, or are they still in kind of the dark about it?
I did have an MRI. No tumors were found, but this is like a primary headache where it's not caused by anything. They just sort of pretty unknown. Okay.
All right. So let me ask you this: how many days per week do you have a headache? So 7 days. How many headaches per 7 days a week?
Yeah, I have them. So the most I get is 5 a day. The minimum is 2, but on average 3, and that's pretty consistent for every day. Okay.
So if you're having that many, I mean, you really can't focus. You're off task all the time. All right, let me do some. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty common to have that many attacks for this type of headaches.
Let me do some cross-examination of you real quick. Good sir, let me ask you this. What do you do throughout the day?
Well, most of the time I stay home and hang out with my older family members. Pretty hard to explain because I'm quite normal until the headaches happen.
Do you play a lot of video games?
No.
Okay. What do you do for fun?
Well, oftentimes my girlfriend will come by. We'll have dinner together. Teaching my great aunt the Bible. She doesn't speak English. And she was recently baptized.
Okay.
Recently, I found a hobby into cars. Just learning about cars over the internet.
Okay. What kind of car is your favorite car?
I like rally cars, sports cars.
Okay. So I'm assuming then, obviously, the film series that you must love has to do with Tokyo Drift and Dom. So, yeah.
I am Asian.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, but Tokyo Drift was like part of the general series of the Fast and the Furious. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I never watched any after that.
What? You haven't seen all of the Fast? What are you doing with your life? I mean, forget the headaches. You need to. Oh my goodness, some changes need to happen.
Getting into cars.
Oh my goodness.
Getting into cars and more action.
Okay, cool. All right, good. I was worried there for a moment because, if you're into cars and you're into rally cars, let me tell you, I mean, there's some blockbusters out there. There are some, HBO Max, Netflixy, Disney Plus wannabes out there that are just excellent. All right, so what the judge is going to do with you, if you have to go in front of a judge, is they're going to break down your daily schedule and figure out what kind of hobbies you have. And can those hobbies be used in some way to show that you're not as bad as you claim you are? So how long does your average headache usually last? And when you tell me this, don't just tell me, oh, it's only this. Tell me how long the small ones last, how long the middle-sized ones last, and how the long and large ones last. Walk me through, how long do your headaches last?
Okay, so the fastest ones are 30 minutes. The longer ones are an hour to an hour, 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I have to use the oxygen tank 25 minutes per headache, but it doesn't always work. So if it does work, then it will last 25 minutes.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, then
gotcha.
I just have to endure it.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you take any sleeping medication?
Sleeping? The sumatriptan do make me tired.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only have 9. They only give me 9 pills per month.
Okay.
And 1 pill aborts 1 attack. And they take too long to work orally.
Mm-hmm.
But those do make me drowsy, yeah.
Okay. So do you sleep well? Are you able to, fall asleep, wake up consistently on time?
I do not sleep well. The headaches, they trigger. Well, I can get them while I'm awake, but I do wake up to the headache a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't count that towards my daily headache.
Mm-hmm.
The ones where I'm awake.
Okay.
And there's something about going into deep sleep where it triggers these.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, my sleep is pretty bad.
So when you wake up, I mean, what happens? Like, if you're having a bad night and you all of a sudden have a headache through that, I mean, do you dream with extreme dreams? Do you go ahead and wake up instantly? Like, walk me through what happens.
When I wake up to the headache, or?
Yes, correct.
When I wake up to the headache, my eyes usually tear. That's the side effects from the headache. And the eyes are painful because it's always on the left eye and head. So I have to wake up, try to use the oxygen if it works. If not, then I'll try to take a triptan. But if not, I have to stay awake until the headache ends. And then if I can, I'll fall asleep after, but usually I'll vomit after.
Okay. Can you tell me this? What special little tricks do you use to try and reduce the amount of headaches you have? And then also, what little things do your family do with you? Do they, try and help you with to reduce the likelihood of you having additional headaches?
Well, they tell me to take some Advil, and they don't really understand the pain level of these. Pace around back and forth. They're not the headaches where you can just lie down. You have to really. You can't stay still. You can't sit. You can't stand. You can't lay down. You can't close your eyes. You have to just pace around, and they just give me my little room and space for me to endure my attacks.
Okay. Have you figured out any way to go ahead and make it less painful or shorten the duration of these headaches?
I don't. Well, putting some ice on my eye will help a little bit. Okay.
So, all right. So what I'm getting at here is, all right, so when was the last time you worked?
Beginning of 2020, I lost my job because I was going home too many days, and I kept taking too many breaks during the headaches to use the oxygen tank.
Mm-hmm.
And my neurologist wrote me a note where it says, if I have a headache at work, then I can go home.
Mm-hmm.
But they just couldn't tolerate it for 2-3 months.
Okay. So, I mean, and what I'm getting at here is, I mean, have you had any other work than that? Any other jobs?
No, that was it.
Okay.
I thought that'd be better and go back, but they never went away.
What level of academia did you complete? Did you complete college? Did you complete, high school? What did you complete?
Yeah, I did 2 years of college, but I failed.
Okay. And okay, so walk me through this. You did the 2 years of college. You're trying to get an associate's. Why did you fail?
Family problems.
What kind of family
my
problems? Yeah.
Well, divorce, and my mom was quite unstable. She was going into court custody for my other younger siblings, and well, she sold the trailer we were at to afford a lawyer, and then my stepdad flew out of state, and she wanted to be closer to the kids, so she sold the trailer we were at, and she moved closer to the kids. And I was still going to school.
So what did you have to do? I mean, where did you move?
Right now, I'm staying with my elderly. I was very young. I couldn't afford to stay by myself or alone. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, look, there are things to bolster the likelihood of this being, a good claim.
I emailed you.
You did? When?
I think 3 weeks ago.
Oh man.
But I contacted some other law office in Florida.
Sure.
I think Attorney Gonzalez.
Cobbs?
Goetz.
Wait, hold on. Let me look this up. Gobtz?
Sorry, Goetz. And Gonzalez.
Gonzalez is the first name, or is that a different attorney?
It's two. It's his law. Goetz and Gonzalez.
Gonzalez and Goetz. All right, let me see if I even know these guys, because they're not ringing a bell.
Yeah, I'm located all the way up here in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, you're in Anchorage, Alaska. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got your email, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Sometimes that happens, but yeah, I just didn't get your email. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know these. Yeah, I don't know these location areas. Where are these guys based? Let me see. Hold on. So they do SSA law, Veterans Disability Law, and they are Fort Lauderdale and Fort Myers.
Oh.
I think I don't know these guys. Yeah, I don't really know. Like I click on their profile and pictures, and these are, I don't know them. I haven't seen them at NOSCR, and I haven't seen them at the local hearing office. So, or any of the others. Yeah.
Specialize in just disability law.
That's what their website says. It says VA law, which is your disability, and then also SSA disability law. So I don't know. I don't know. Keep in mind, there's a lot of people I know, and then there's some people I don't know. But I know a lot of the heavy hitters who do this all day long, all the time, because I see them at the hearing offices over and over and over again. So yeah, I don't, but if you're in Alaska, Anchorage, were there any disability attorneys up there that you were looking at? Now remember too, Alaska is absolutely like mission impossible to get disability benefits in. Their percentage passage rates are extremely low.
Oh. Am I dealing with judges from here that have low approval rating? Yeah,
you're usually going to have DDS reps up there, and a lot of the times.
I was denied twice, and I'm currently waiting for my hearing.
Reach out to me. Give me a call tomorrow, and then we'll kind of catch up. In the meantime, do me a favor, make a list of where you've been for medical, like all the different places you've been over the past 3 to 5 years. Also, a list of where you've been for school, like academia, not just the college thing that didn't work out, but where you were before that. And then the other thing is work on the top 5 list of impairments, because it sounds like there's, some PTSD things that happened in the past. There are some issues that popped up, anxiety, potentially depression. You do have a girlfriend, which means, calls into question how deep is the depression, how bad is the anxiety.
She's been with me since middle school.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So that's good. That's a good piece of evidence there. So we'd want a letter from her stating she's known you since then, and then we'd want a letter from her saying, an example of where she's seen you have difficulty getting through the day. So let me ask you this. What is one of the most traumatic things that you remember about your headaches? Like you missed some event that you really wanted to go to, or you were signed up to do something and you couldn't go because, basically your headaches kept you from doing it.
Oh yeah. I lost so many friends and just not going to their weddings where I was the best man, and just a lot of things. I'm scared to go out longer than 4 or 5 hours. Just scared to have a headache outside of home.
I mean, okay, so we'll develop that, figure out some of the details. Another thing to work on is what seems to trigger the headaches. That's going to be a big question at the hearing. So, heat, cold, loud sounds, dust, vibrations, bright lights, blinking lights, pulmonary irritants. What seems to trigger your headaches?
I just don't know. Well, besides the sleep, that's one, but I'm still able to get them while I'm awake. It's just not a known thing with this cluster headache.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very there's a Social Security ruling
mm-hmm.
where it has cluster headaches,
mm-hmm.
where if it's bad enough it can equal epilepsy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's one of those
migraine and stuff.
Yeah. With that said, the only thing I'm worried about is, okay, so do you have your medical evidence already? Like, have you been collecting it? How long ago was your last denial?
For the reconsideration?
Yeah, so you got the initial filing, and then you got the recon denial. Okay, so July. So you got a couple. Yeah. All right, so you got a little chunk of months in there. So you're looking at basically probably 3 to 9 months as to when the hearing's going to actually be scheduled. So, who have you seen medically between your last denial at recon to the current date?
I've seen an eye doctor by the Social Security, psychologist, and then I just see my neurologist regularly.
Okay, why not a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
No idea. I was just scared to go out. Never really thought about how bad it was.
Okay. What about a sleep study or something that shows the sleep cycle, you waking up, things like that?
No, it's pretty common that these trigger during sleep. We don't know why.
But have you done a sleep study at this point to know, some of the background knowledge, like at what point, what happens with your brain, what happens with your heart, is there any medical diagnostic notations, analysis at all of you sleeping, having one, and then you waking up as a result of it?
No. Would that be referred by my neurologist to get a sleep study done on me?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't send you over to one because, look, if you're getting them while you're sleeping, and you have to understand, headaches, fibromyalgia, what seems to really, or some of the flare-ups that you get with, the autoimmune disorders. Sometimes we don't know what's really causing these things to be as bad as they are. And sometimes the key to that is to group it down to specific situations. When you wake up, when you're falling asleep, when you're really stressed, when you're, asleep for 2 hours, when you're asleep for 6 hours, and breaking it up into specific categorical areas of your life, and then trying to figure out, okay, he has more of these headaches as a result of this situation. So let me give you an example. If you were to walk into a Walmart with really bright lights, would you notice any problems as a result of that?
Oh, no. But these headaches, they do irritate my left eye, the lights, during the headache and after the headache. Not anything before it.
When you have a cluster or a pattern of these headaches, is there a rhythm to it? Do they usually come on very strong and then not so bad, or do they start out a little bit and then they get worse and worse and worse? Do you have certain intervals of relief? Walk me through that.
They're very sudden, and they escalate very fast without any warning. And I haven't noticed any pattern to it. They're pretty random throughout the day.
Okay. All right. It sounds like I mean, you have to understand from my perspective, I have to look at this. How much time off task is he going to be? How many days at work is he likely to miss? Is he employable, even at the most simple, basic, unskilled jobs? And some of the evidence that we would use for headaches to define whether or not you're employable is, how many does he have per day? How long do they usually last? What types of medication is he taking? How solid are the medications interacting with his headaches? Is he able to get through the day?
Like lengthwise?
Yeah,
I can tell you the duration.
Yeah.
The minimum is always 30 minutes, but on average, they're always 45 to 50.
Okay.
For one. I get multiple times a day. And they come in clusters as well. So, like, I'll have one, it'll fade off, everything seems like it's going okay. And then another one will come.
What about some of the telltale signs? Do you get, atrial fibrillation? Do you get heart, extra beats? Do you have high blood pressure occur? Like, what happens to your body during these headaches?
What happens to my body?
Yeah.
Eternally, or like physically?
Well, all of the above. Like, do you turn red? Do you get angry? Do you become hostile? Yeah.
Okay, so my left eye will tear. It will droop. It burns. It will feel like something's poking your eye from the inside. And it's always on the left side. I will sweat. And then the headache comes on a few minutes after that. It feels like a brain freeze. Not really like a headache, but more like a brain freeze.
Do you feel like your fingers or toes get numb?
No.
Okay. Do you feel like your earlobes get extra hot?
Yeah, the left side. Just the side that it's on.
Do you feel like you'd have a hard time lifting things? Like physically you lose the power, the horsepower to lift things when this happens?
Just the strength to do it, or?
Yeah, like you feel like you don't have the strength to do it. You don't have all the strength you normally would. Yeah.
I do have the strength, but I probably wouldn't concentrate on that or focus on that.
I mean, it sounds like a cardiovascular-based issue where there's something pinching or something that's going wrong, and then all of a sudden there's a lack.
They say it's kind of like that's kind of like cluster headaches. It's kind of like a nerve impingement on the trigeminal nerve.
Yeah.
But they still haven't been able to figure it out because the MRIs and stuff are normal.
And I mean, you're not in any sports, right? You're not doing any lacrosse or basket or football, right?
No.
So there's no trauma.
No. If you Google top 10 most painful conditions, cluster headache is one.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, cluster headache. Yeah, they're debilitating for sure. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, you get a lot of them throughout the day. You are not doing great with the medication. If it were truly cardiovascular based, I mean, look, there's a couple of things that could cause this: lack of oxygen, lack of blood flow, neurological. Could be, for example, your brain is creating it or triggering it somehow from some memory, but that's more rare, more unlikely. What does the cardiologist say?
Is that a heart doctor?
Yeah, like think heart blood, yeah.
I've never been to one.
That might be a good thing for you to go to because, you specifically said left side, and obviously you're talking about strokey kind of stuff, where there could be.
Yeah, these will always be like on one side. They'll always be like on a person's left or person's right, and it will always be on that same side every attack.
But that could be either the brain or it could be a cardiovascular based issue to that specific, flow area. I doubt this has anything to do with the lymphatic system.
I did take a blood test.
Yeah, but a blood test isn't really going to tell you anything. I mean, what does your neurologist think? I'm just curious. What does your neurologist think?
Well, she's trying all she can. It's pretty rare to have it chronically. And right now we're just going with what I have slight benefits from with the injections. And then she's just keeping the medications going. That's all she can really do for me.
But what is her theory of the diagnosis? Like, what is her theory?
I don't know. Can you simplify that for me?
Yeah, so basically doctors think in trees, like a blossoming tree, right? So you start at the base. You have the base fundamental issue, right? And then from that grows up the tree ideas as to essentially why this is occurring. And, you know, it could be this, it could be that, it could be neurological, it could be cardiovascular, it could be whatever. It could be a lot of things. It could be a congenital thing from birth that we just haven't figured out yet. But they have ideas and theories as to what could be causing it, what could be making it worse if they can't figure out what's causing it, or maybe they did figure it out. They have a theory. What is her theory as to, you know, what's going on here, why this is occurring for you? Because look, if you're throwing up that much, right, and you're you're essentially not, okay. Another question: do you have other male siblings like brothers, and what's their height?
I have two older. One's probably 5'4". The other one's probably 5'6".
Okay. So, that's an indicator. You know, why do you have, height adjustment there, weight loss adjustment there? Those are indicators as well.
They also have different.
Yeah.
They also have different dad.
Oh, well, then that changes it. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. There's a ton of questions, but really, I'm surprised that your doctor hasn't really given you a theory as to where this is going. You know,
well, she thinks it's a primary headache where it's not caused by anything. I think that's what she's getting it from, and she's just going by the books of, how do I treat it, what medication she can try to tame it.
Well, I'm impressed. All right. It is what it is. Give me a call tomorrow. Start working on those lists. And then we'll kind of catch up from there. But yeah, man, the first thing I'm thinking about is I don't have to prove what started it. I don't have to prove, essentially, what really makes it worse and that there's a cure for it. What I have to prove is that it's so bad that you're unable to work at even a simple job, 8 hours a day, yada, yada. So my thing, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I have supervisor notes. I don't know if that helps or not.
Supervisor.
Like from my old workplace.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Those would be very helpful. And anything you had in school, like, 504 IEP, very helpful. Failing grades, very helpful. Like grade report, very helpful. Absentee list, like you were absent for so many days, that would be very helpful. All this goes into the brief, but, all right. You've got your work cut out for you to start working on. I will catch you a little bit later. Give me a call tomorrow, and then we'll kind of go from there. And, you'll have your hearing, and hopefully, if you request telephonic, just saying, if you request telephonic, you might be able to get a judge that's not local, because when you request in person, they got to go ahead and have the in-person in location, close to Alaska. In Alaska, judges go ahead and basically.
Oh yeah. I did a telephonic. I just got the form yesterday.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, good, sir. I will catch you later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
So guys, that's going to be our last phone call for the night, but we're going to be ending this video. I'm going to let the dogs out, and then we're going to be doing a security video specifically on the craziness. There's really weird stuff going on. We, as a country, just purchased $290 million worth of the medical drug that's used to combat, essentially, the harm that comes from exposure to, nuclear-based agents. Like a bomb goes off, it gets you sick, yada, yada. So we just bought $290 as a country worth of that medicine, which is a significant amount of money to put into that medicine. Anyways, guys, I hope you had a fun time tonight. I will be back in about 10 minutes. I'm going to call a security expert. We'll go from there. Stay happy, stay strong. I will catch you later. I hope we had some good laughs. I'm sorry if I was a little bit off tonight. I'm super tired. I don't know if you can tell, but my liposuction under my eyes isn't working well. We'll get there. We'll try. We'll look beautiful next time. You have a wonderful night. We'll go from there. Thanks so much and have fun. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.